Poetry as Insurgent Art by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. I am signaling you through the flames. The North Pole is not where it used to be. Manifest destiny is no longer manifest. Civilization self-destructs. Nemesis is knocking at the door. What are poets for in such an age? What's the use of poetry? The state of the world calls out for the poet to save it, a voice in the wilderness. If you would be a poet, create works capable of answering the challenge of apocalyptic times, even if this means sounding apocalyptic. You are Whitman. You are Poe. You are Mark Twain. You are Emily Dickinson and Edna St. Vincent Millay. You are Neruda and Mayakovsky and Pasolini. You are an American or a non-American. You can conquer the conquerors with words. If you would be a poet, write living newspapers. Be a reporter from outer space, filing dispatches to some supreme managing editor who believes in full discourse and has a low tolerance for bullshit. If you would be a poet, experiment with all manner of poetics, erotic, broken grammars, ecstatic religions, heathen outpourings speaking in tongues, bombastic public speech, automatic scribblings, surrealist sensings, streams of consciousness, found sounds, rants, and raves to create your own limbic, your own underlying voice, your voice. If you call yourself a poet, don't just sit there. Poetry is not a sedentary occupation, not a take-your-seat practice. Stand up and let them have it. Have a wide-angle vision. Each look a world glance. Express the vast clarity of the outside world, the sun that sees us all, the moon that stews in its shadows upon us, quiet garden ponds, willows where the hidden thrush sings, dark dusk along the river run, and the great spaces that open out upon the sea, high tide and herons call, and all the people, yes, all around the world, the people speaking babble tongues, give voice to them all. You must decide if bird cries are cries of ecstasy or cries of despair, by which you will know if you are a tragic or a lyric poet. If you would be a poet, discover a new way for mortals to inhabit the earth. If you would be a poet, invent a new language anyone can understand. If you would be a poet, speak new truths the world can't deny. If you would be a great poet, strive to transcribe the consciousness of the race. Through art, create order out of the chaos of living. Make it new news. Write beyond time. Reinvent the idea of truth. Reinvent the idea of beauty. If in first light, wax poetic. In the night, wax tragic. Listen to the lisp of the leaves and the ripple of rain. Put your ear to the ground and hear the turning of the earth, the surge of the sea, and the laments of dying animals. Conceive of love beyond sex. Question everything and everyone, including Socrates, who questioned everything. Question God and his buddies here on earth. Be submersive, constantly questioning reality and the status quo. Strive to change the world in such a way that there's no further need to be a dissident. Hip-hop and rap your way to liberation. Try being a singing animal turned pimp for a pacifist king. Read between the lives and write between the lines. Your poems must be more than want ads for broken hearts. A poem must sing and fly away with you, or it's a dead duck with a prose soul. A lyric poem must rise beyond the sounds found in alphabet soup. Write down the words of astronomers who have seen with Heinrich Oegler the place where all is light. And remember, the night with few stars has more poetic force than a whole catalog of heavens. Your images in a poem should be jamais vu, not déjà vu. Words can save you where guns can't. Decide if a poem is a question, a declaration, a meditation, or an outcry. Reinvent America and the world. Climb the Statue of Liberty. Mistrust metaphysics, trust in the imagination, and refertilize it. Instead of trying to escape reality, plunge into the flesh of the world. If you call yourself a poet, sing it, don't state it. Don't let it be said of you that sluggish imagination drowned out a slug of your heart. Bring together again the telling of a tale and the living voice. Be a teller of great tales, even the darkest. Give voice to the tongueless street. Make common words uncommon. Have a lover's quarrel with a man's fate. Kiss the mirror and write on it what you see and hear. Poet, be God's spy, if God exists. Painter, paint his eye, if he has one. Be a dark barker before the tents of existence. See the rose through world-colored glasses. Be an eye among the blind. And dance with wolves and count the stars, including the ones whose light hasn't gotten here yet. Be naive, non-cynical, as if you had just landed on earth, astonished by what you have fallen upon. Question the pure heart, the inscrutable meaning of things, and our tragicomic destiny. Are you gifted with enchantment and girded with wonder? Do you have mad sound? Be a Zen fool. The sunshine of poetry casts shadows. Paint them too. You can never see or hear or feel too much if you can stand it. Strive to recover the innocence of the eye you had in childhood. Compose on the tongue, not on the page. Like a Buddha, listen to your own breathing. Lower your voice and speak from your chest, not through your nose. When performing your poetry, don't try to shatter the windows in the next zip code. In this art, you have no singing master, save your inner ear. You are only as great as your ear. Too bad if it is tin. As with humans, poems have fatal flaws. Sing hello. Write an endless poem about your life on earth or elsewhere, a poetry larger than life. One great poem should be born of the sum of all your poems, recording more than surface reality, more than what's passing by the window. Find the further reality, if there is one. Your language must sing, with or without rhyme, to justify it being in the typography of poetry. Make it more than spoken word. Make it sung word poetry. Back up your voice with a musical instrument or other sound and let your poems blossom into song. Dig folk singers who are the true singing poets of yesterday and today. Read between the lines of human discourse. Make your mind learn its way around the heart. Your life is your poetry. If you have no heart, you'll write heartless poetry. Avoid the provincial. Go for the universal. Don't hew stones. Dip into the sea for poetry. Every poem is a live fish. Say the unsayable. Make the invisible visible. Think subjectively. Write objectively. Be a literalist of the imagination. The concrete is the most poetic. Think long thoughts in short sentences. If you would be a poet, don't think quirks of thought are poetry. Any 3 lines do not a haiku make. It takes an epiphany to make it pop. After a poetry reading, never submit to a question and answer session. Poetry gets the listeners high, and the Q&A brings all down to prose. Do they ask a folk singer to explain his songs? Like a field of sunflowers, a poem should not have to be explained. If a poem has to be explained, it's a failure of communication. A poem should not discuss the craft of the poetry or the process of creating it. It is more than a trade secret, mystifying by its mysteries. Whatever a poet says about his work is an apology he shouldn't make. Do what you want to be a great writer or a great academic, a bourgeois poet or a flaming rad. Can you imagine Shelley attending a poetry workshop? Yet poetry workshops create many communities of poetic kinship in heartlands of America where many may feel lonely and lost for lack of kindred souls. If you have to teach poetry, strike your blackboard with the chalk of light. No ideas but in the senses. Nihil in intellectual quod non prius in sensu. If you would be a great poet, associate with thinking poets. They're hard to find. Thinking poetry need not be sans ecstasy. Read the epic novelist, the prophetic poets, the great storytellers, the great minds. Haunt bookstores. What's on your mind? What do you have in mind? Open your mouth and stop mumbling. Don't be so open-minded that your brain falls out. Become a new mind and make it newer. Sweep away the cobwebs. Cultivate dissidence and critical thinking. First thought may be the worst thought. Pursue the white whale, but don't harpoon it. Catch its song instead. Allow yourself dazzling flights of outrageous imagination. Exceed everyone's great expectations and direst prophecies. If you would be a great poet, be the conscience of the race. Resist much, obey less. Challenge capitalism masquerading as democracy. Challenge all political creeds, including radical populism and hooligan socialism. Consider Sufism, especially its tantric ecstasy, in which poetry on the tongue leads to the heart and so on to the soul. Glory in the pessimism of the intellectual and the optimism of the will. Don't blow bubbles of despair. Poetry is seeds and buds, not twigs. Smoke it to get high. Generative collective joy in the face of collective gloom. Secretly liberate any being you see in a cage. Liberate have-nots and enrage despots. Sound a barbarous yawp over the roofs of the world. Caw the great caw. Sow your poems with the salt of the earth. Stand up for the stupid and the crazy. See eternity in the eyes of animals. See eternity not the other night, but tonight. Express the inexpressible. Don't be too arcane for the man in the street. Be a songbird, not a parrot. Be a canary in the coal mine. A dead canary is not just an ornithological problem. Be also a rooster, waking up with the world. Write short poems in the voice of birds. Birdsong is not made by machines. Give your poems wings to fly in the treetops. Don't pander, especially not to audiences, readers, editors, or publishers. Don't cater to the middle mind of America or the consumer society. Be a poet, not a hucksucker. Don't put down the scholastics who say a poem should have wholeness, harmony, radiance, truth, beauty, goodness. Go to sea in ships or work near water and paddle your own boat. Why listen to critics who have not themselves written the great masterpieces? Don't produce poetry by the pound. Don't write reruns of virtual realities. Be a wolf in the sheep's fold of silence. Don't slip on the banana peel of nihilism even while listening to the roar of nothingness. Fill the dark abyss that yawns beyond every face, every light, every nation. Make a new poem out of every experience and overcome the myopia of the present moment. Catch instants, every second a heartbeat. Stash your cell phone and be here in the now. Look for the permanent and the effervescent and fleeting. Make permanent waves and not just on the heads of stylish women. Don't fiddle with your mustache in hopeless cellars writing incomprehensible drivel. Why live in the shadows? Get yourself a seat in the sunboat. Don't let them tell you poetry is bullshit. Don't let them tell you poetry is for the birds. Have a good laugh at all those who would tell you poets are misfits or potential terrorists and dangers to the state. Don't let them tell you poetry is a neurosis that some people never outgrow. Laugh at those who would tell you all is written by the Holy Ghost and you're just a ghostwriter. Don't ever believe poetry is irrelevant in dark times. Don't let them tell you poets are pariahs. Laugh at those who would tell you poetry is paid for by social insecurity. Don't believe them when they tell you nobody buys the penny stock of poetry in the stock market of our casino culture. Unless you have an urge to sing, don't open your mouth. If you have nothing to say, don't say it. Don't lecture like this. Don't say don't. Mock those who tell you you're living in a dream world. Dream your own reality. Camp out on the shores of reality. Laugh at those who tell you, go prose, young man, go prose. Come out of your closet. It's dark in there. Dare to be a nonviolent poetic guerrilla, an anti-hero. Temper your most intemperate voice with compassion. Make new wine out of the grapes of wrath. Remember that men and women are infinitely ecstatic, infinitely suffering beings. Raise the blinds, throw open your shuttered windows, raise the roof, unscrew the locks from the doors, but don't throw away the screws. Don't destroy the world unless you have something better to replace it. Challenge Nemesis, the vengeful goddess, the invidious goddess. Be committed to something outside of yourself. Be passionate about it. If you would snatch fame from the flames, where is your burning bow? Where are your arrows of desire? Where your wit on fire? When the poet let down his pants, his ass poetica should be evident, giving rise to lyric erections. A master class starts wars. The lower class fights them. Governments lie. The voice of the government is often not the voice of the people. Speak up. Act out. Silence is complicity. Be the gadfly of the state and also its firefly. And if you have 2 loaves of bread, do as the Greeks did. Sell one, and with the coin of the realm, buy some sunflowers. Wake up, the world's on fire. Have a nice day.